on at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Jansen's Heating and Air is the home of Dr. Comfort, focusing on customer care for heating and air conditioning across Central Illinois for some 35 years. Find out their services, specials, and coupons by clicking their icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM. You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and it was just 4 days ago, as we're doing this interview today, that Central Commodity FS and Gateway FS officially merged. The announcement that it was going to happened back in, I think it was March, and now they are officially one. And here to talk about all of that and much more is the general manager of, well, what is now Gateway FS, Mark Bauman. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, good to have you on. And as our listeners may recall, you and I actually spoke at the Christian County Farm Bureau back in, well, I guess it was March, when we talked about this sort of thing on the front end of the merger. So, and you and I were talking about that before we got on here. So it's good to talk to you again. So, the merger has, of course, now happened. How? Just talk about. What the merger kind of means for the companies, which is now one company, and for regular customers overall.
Sure. So as you'll recall there in March, we had an upcoming shareholder vote, which was approved with about 80% of all stock classes combined approval. So kind of an overwhelming support of the merger from the Central Commodity shareholders. Central Commodity actually merged into Gateway FS, so the Gateway shareholders did not vote on the merger. The Central Commodity shareholders did. So that was a good mandate from our shareholders at Central Commodity FS, and then they saw the same things that we as the board of directors and management saw, which was Central Commodity was a very successful cooperative and had a long history of success with our customers, both in providing the products and services that they needed in a good, timely manner, but also good financial performance, and sharing that financial performance returns with those customers and patronage refunds. So once again, just to visit on Central Commodity, 100-year history this year. Christian County Farmer Supply was founded in 1926, so we had a rich 100-year history there in Christian County. But with everything, change occurs, and as we see this period of rapid consolidation that we're in agriculture, both on the manufacturing side and the farm producer side, it was time to join with another successful company, in this case Gateway FS, to make the company more resilient over time and for the future. So the opportunity came about for Central Commodity to visit with the board of directors of Gateway FS with the retirement of Gateway's general manager, and both boards decided that it was a good fit, and it really is, because both companies share a similar culture of putting patrons first and giving them the products and services that they need in the way that they need it. Both companies are involved in not only the supply side of the business, which is primarily ag products and energy, but also feed and structures now with Gateway, but also in grain. And there's really not too many FS member companies that still are independent in grain. So that was also a big consideration when the two boards met and looked at who in the FS system would be a good partner going forward. So that was those were some of the considerations that went into the merger. So that all really started back in late late 25 for those discussions. Like I say, the merger vote was in March, so we've had a period of time here, beginning March 1st, when I became the interim manager at Gateway and still acting manager at Central Commodity FS, to start to bring the two organizations together prior to our effective date, which was August 1st, which, as you mentioned, was this past Saturday. So, we've had, with the anticipation of a positive vote, going back even before March, being able to look at, there's so many things that you can't even envision when you start a process like this, but just all the accounting systems, item numbers, the HR components of employees. It just takes a lot of effort to make sure that on day one everything is ready to go. And at this point, we're on day 3 and things are going well. So it took a tremendous amount of effort from our staff of both companies, and I would just like to give a huge shout out to everybody in both organizations, because it's been a lot of work, but we're off and running here.
Off and running, and yeah, we'll talk a little more about that in just a bit. I want to actually circle back to one thing you mentioned a bit earlier on. So, it sounded like the Central Commodity shareholders were the ones who made the decision to do the merger, and they seemed pretty on board with it. Obviously, it turned out that way since the merger happened. Seemed like the Gateway FS, back when you were two separate companies, board was pretty on board with it. What about the Gateway FS shareholders? What has been kind of the reaction from them about it?
So it's been overwhelmingly positive. One thing about Gateway, it's the product of prior mergers of 5 Illinois companies. So at one point there would have been 5 member companies in the legacy Gateway area, and 3 of those counties merged to form AgriPride FS, and 2 of the counties, Monroe and Randolph, were the original Gateway FS. So those 2 companies, AgriPride and Gateway, merged in 2017 or 18. Can't remember quite the year, but in that range, to form Gateway FS. So I only mention this because the shareholders and board of those prior companies are kind of used to the consolidation and merger process, where Christian County FS and Central Commodity DBA had remained as a single county company for 100 years. So, which is I would say somewhat rare. There's still 2 single county companies left in the FS system, but that's a little bit new for both the boards and the patron shareholders of Central Commodity, maybe more so than that at Gateway, because they've been through some of these consolidations in the past. But that being said, have had tremendous feedback from the shareholders in the legacy Gateway area. Obviously, a lot of the synergies and efficiencies that both boards of directors saw are shared by those patrons, and a lot of that is the ability for the company to move equipment and people and resources from the north to the south, as Christian County is a big fall applied company from an ag input standpoint, and Gateway is kind of a mixture of fall and spring, but heavier in the spring. So just once again, being able to share some of those assets and resources between the 2 companies is a big positive.
Sounds like it from what you've described. In terms of, it sounds like you folks have seen some benefits in this. What would you say is going to be the biggest challenge for the now unified Gateway FS? Especially kind of starting out in this season and the next couple seasons.
It's interesting because we've had that period of time I mentioned to kind of act as one in a lot of regards, even though we weren't in 2 separate companies, and now we are, effective August 1st. But the integration and the cultures of both companies are pretty similar. But I would say one challenge will be, since there is geographic separation between our territories, is just really getting our employee bases of both companies to become familiar with each other in a personal manner, and not just emails and phone calls, but really bringing everyone together and getting people used to that communication and knowing that we're one big company, even though there's a little bit of space between us, and that's going to take a little bit of time, but we're addressing that. We've got our company-wide location managers are meeting here on August 12th, and that'll be kind of a first step on that side of things, to get everybody together in one room and really get to share ideas and thoughts. Our sales force of crop specialists have been under Ryan Gonzalez, our agronomy manager, as are the energy salespeople under Brad Mashoff, is the energy manager. So those two groups have been working as one, but at this point haven't had the opportunity to really mix and mingle like we will here in the near future. So that's probably one of the short-term challenges, but I don't think it will take long to overcome.
All right, yeah, and it seems like hearing about it from you. I'm talking to Mark Bauman, General Manager of Gateway FS. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk plenty more right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Hi, this is Julie Sanchez with People's Bank and Trust. Hola, mi nombre es Julie Sanchez con People's Bank and Trust, and I am here to share information about our Save by Spending program. Save by Spending, round up, where we round your debit card purchase to the next dollar and put that change in your savings account. Also, our Save by Spending rewards program. You can earn cash back on all qualifying signature-based debit card purchases. Call 888-PBT-1954 and learn more about Save by Spending programs. At People's Bank and Trust, we put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Of the 2024 construction projects by Christian County businesses, those businesses saved an estimated $370,000 in sales tax by utilizing the county's enterprise zone. Through the efforts of the Christian County Economic Development Corporation over the past 20-plus years to establish and grow the county's enterprise zone, new and existing businesses in the county can save significantly in sales taxes. Find out how they can help your business by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. The Christian County Economic Development Corporation is moving Christian County forward.
Hi, everyone. Nicole Patrick here, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Bresser in Taylorville. I'm proud to recognize the Tornado student athletes that represent our community by being the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Nicole Patrick Country Financial Player of the Game. During Tornado Sports broadcasts this school year, WTIM announcers will select a player at the end of each game who will receive a certificate for being named our Player of the Game. Good luck to all the teams this season, and go Tornadoes!
Don't let summer weather get in the way of your summer fun. Here's Dr. Pavi Gill with Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
Once the weather warms up, it's more important than ever to practice sun safety. The providers at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville recommend that if you're out in the sun, you drink water throughout the day and wear sunscreen, hats, and UPF clothing.
But if you need care, whether for a routine checkup or a vacation bug this summer, call Springfield Clinic Taylorville at 217-287-8855 to schedule an appointment.
Get ready for the Hart Media Group Summer Scramble. Join us on August 14th for a day of fun on the course. Don't wait. Spots are limited. Register your team today at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors, especially Advanced Title Group, Christian County's oldest and only locally owned title company. We'll see you there.
CTI is the only internet company that offers no data caps and limitless data for limitless possibilities. They're your local internet provider. Sign up by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Looking for the best deal? Head to Landmark of Taylorville. Get employee pricing plus on select new Chevy, Buick, and GMC models. Shop new and pre-owned today at Landmark or click our banner at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
You always do better at Landmark. WTIM.
You're listening to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. It's sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and I continue my discussion with Mark Bauman, General Manager of Gateway FS. And we spent the first segment talking about the merger and some of the implications in that. And I want to turn our attention, kind of zoom out a little bit to, the ag industry as a whole. We've got harvest season coming up. And I'm curious, Mark, from your perspective, what are some of the big challenges the ag industry, or at least the area that you folks focus on, will see this harvest season, maybe even in the next couple seasons, and how are you folks planning on addressing those at Gateway FS?
Well, Reed, I think overall the ag industry has been challenged from the producer level, and what I mean by that is we've been in a bit of a slump on commodity prices here, probably, going back at least 3 years, and seeing farm incomes decline over that period of time, maybe from some of the higher levels that we saw in the early 2020s. And, that really has a lag effect. So, as we go forward, even with some of the opportunities we've had to market this 2026 crop at some decent prices, I feel like that pressure on our patrons' ability to generate the income they need to afford the elevated prices of equipment and fertilizer and rent and land costs and everything it still remains. So that's going to be something that's going to be a challenge going forward. I don't think we'll see, even if we get the commodity prices and the yield to make things better here this fall. It takes a while for some of those prior years deficiencies to really get healed up at the farm level. So once again, it's a big concern, I think, of mine and many as we go forward, is the economic health overall for our patron customers.
Yeah, and then that's what I've heard, throughout in a lot of spaces. How are you folks at Gateway FS kind of looking to respond to that and handle it, really?
Sure. So I mean, obviously there's only so much we can do as we buy commodities, and commodity markets are driven by the supply, demand, and producers and things like that. So we're somewhat limited on our ability to control prices that our customers need for their inputs. But what we can do is make sure that we're here to serve their needs in as good a way as we can. And quite honestly, our crop specialists are well trained to work with the producers to maximize their yield production on every acre. So, I mean, we can directly impact that output side of the equation and hopefully help raise more bushels, even if commodity prices aren't where we'd like to see them in relation to some of the costs and expense that our customers have. So looking at some of the yield predictive models that we have in our MyFS agronomy, it looks like our crop that's out there this year is going to be a big one. So also I'll give a shout out to our grain department that they're busily shipping grain out, trying to make sure that we have as much space in our elevators as possible, so that we can help to accommodate what I feel like is going to be a large crop, and hopefully one that helps to heal some of the pain of the past few years from per acre income for our customers.
All right, and see, we've got about a minute to go. Where can folks find you online?
So our Facebook account from Central Commodity just switched here, went live on Saturday, so it'll be under Gateway FS. Our grain app that was Central Commodity on bushel will also be Gateway, and our website now is www.gatewayfs.com.
All right, so that's all you need to know about Gateway FS having merged with Central Commodity FS. Took place on Saturday, officially August 1st. So we got to hear about that from Mark Bauman, General Manager of Gateway FS. Mark, thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you, Reed.
Yeah, and thanks for doing so on short notice. Got that arranged quite recently. So Mark Bauman, again, thank you very much, and thank you for listening here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. Back in 10 minutes.
With SRN News, I'm Rich